I have a little quiz here. It's a list of nonsensical questions, which is perfect for the book, about things that may or may not be in the book. You want to play? All right. Here's what you need to play. Everybody bring their fingers? Everybody got fingers? Okay. These are your counters for the quiz. When I ask a question, you shout out the answer, and if I point at you, you get to put up a finger. Your choice which finger. And then at the end of the game, whoever has the most fingers up gets to take a trip to our fabulous, totally random prize basket. All right? Let's play. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Question number 1. How many times is Ron DeSantis mentioned in the book?
27.
Too many.
Never.
0.
3.
Ron DeSantis, anyone?
This many times.
Who the fuck is he?
It's between those. Between those.
Or it.
Yeah.
Between 4. 4. All right. Put up your finger.
This middle finger.
How many playlists are there? Music playlists in the book. Music playlists. Any guesses? Any guesses how many musical playlists?
12.
20.
Musical playlist, yes?
12.
Kathy?
One. There was a 6 over here. I don't know.
Okay.
3.
I'll say 1.
All right, it's more than one. Listen.
Can you
It
repeat
is.
this? 9.
All right. How many musical playlists are in the book? 2. Who said 2? There you go. Put up a finger. Is there a footnote about licking U.S. postage stamps? Yes. All right. That is a finger up. All right. Here's a question. How many of these words does the book contain? Poop, vomit, barf, belch, burp, shit, diarrhea, puke, gas, sphincter, feces, and throw up.
Oh!
Yes! Everybody put up a finger. Is there a quote by Abraham Lincoln?
Yes.
Yes. Another finger. How many times do I actually mention Trump by name?
0.
You're absolutely right.
Doesn't deserve that.
How many times do I mention George H.W. Bush?
2. Twice.
More than 4.
5.
5. Finger up, Kathy. Name a place where you go to break stuff that I mentioned 3 times.
The rage room.
Yes! Finger up. How many cooking recipes does it contain? 1. Yes. Finger up. Which famous court case that was overruled do I mention 3 times? Is there a Chinese proverb?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. All right, tougher one. Which Pixar movie do I mention?
Wall-E.
Yes, of course. Wall-E. Which Kansas City Chiefs football player do I mention?
Mahomes.
Yes. Of course. All right, why did I mention fishy body odor, hairy tongue, and prolonged hiccups?
Why wouldn't you?
They are known side effects of common medications. I don't know if you're taking them. Anyway, which of these kids games do I mention? Red Rover, Ring Around the Rosie, and Slip and Sliding.
Slip and slide.
Slip and slide.
Whoever said all, you are correct. Why do I mention innies and outies?
Jigsaw puzzles.
Yes. Jigsaw puzzles. Okay, which organization do I mention in reference to sex toys? Where can you go get information, advice on selecting your sex toys? Anyone?
Who's an expert here?
All right, somebody's not reading footnotes. People of you who read the book. It is actually, what? AARP. What well-known gymnast do I mention?
Simone Biles.
Yep. What animal's mating dance do I mention in both Love Earth Now and Madness? Mating dance. It is not David.
Tom Cruise.
The mallard. Was that the one?
Pardon?
The albatross.
The emu.
Oh.
Check out the mating dance of the emu. It's awesome. What do you do with that on YouTube?
Have you ever seen the mating ritual of an albatross?
Okay. How many times do I use the word naked?
A lot.
Oh, come on, just guess numbers.
25.
52.
9.
100?
Who said 6? Getting closer.
7.
4.
8.
5. 5 is it. All right. How many times do I mention my husband?
0.
Probably your
Less than 10. More than 0.
Oh, more than 10.
So twice.
7 in the back. How many times do I mention the floor of my closet?
3.
10.
7.
Also 7. I don't know if there's any relation, but that's how it worked out. All right. All right. Who has, how many fingers have you got up?
3.
Oh.
5 over here. Anybody got more than 5 fingers up?
Kathy,
No,
maybe.
I'm not participating.
All right. Fritz wins a trip to the totally random prize basket. Thank you. I do want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. I appreciate it so much. It means, it literally means the world to me. Because, you know, it's our friends in our community that can be there for us in times of crisis and in celebration. If the pandemic taught us anything, you know, it might be that your neighbor has toilet paper if you don't. And and most of you are local here. I do want to take an opportunity to recognize our traveling guests. We have the fabulous, the best hostess, Aunt Kathy, coming in from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I also want to recognize our good friends Dan and Grace, who came in from Northern California. I understand you had to come in a rowboat. Okay, and also my daughter Chloe came down from Sacramento. Fritz came in from Long Beach. I know it's not as far, but you know, with traffic, that could be an overnight journey. And Julie Way from Seal Beach also. For the many rest of us who live pretty local, I'm going to urge you, and speaking as an introvert, I know what I'm asking. I'm going to urge you to speak to somebody, and I know a lot of you have already. Speak to somebody here tonight that you don't already know. Not just, hey, what's your name? But really ask, how are you doing? How are you holding up? What's making you mad? You just never know what's going to make a difference in somebody else's life or yours. These connections, these little connections we make, you know, sometimes come back to save us. And these connections just might be what you can call upon when the going gets rough. And my sense is that we are in for a bumpy ride. So especially for anyone who is paying attention, because it takes a lot to stay awake and conscious in these mad times. I think many of you will agree. So I'm going to read another little excerpt from Madness about that. Not that I think of myself as a snowflake at all. It takes grit just to be conscious in this world, which is seemingly hell-bent on numbing us to the ongoing destruction of our essential life support systems just to make someone else stupid rich. Pay no attention to the billionaire laughing behind the wall of smoke streaming from a fossil fuel-powered monstrosity. I recently watched the IMAX film Hubble 3D, a documentary full of rich images of our universe where the madness of our nature-destroying ways was writ large. Billions upon billions of stars twinkle across the vast universe, many orbited by planets of all sorts and sizes, and yet, we've only discovered one that supports life as we know it. We've been given a priceless gem. Are we really going to toss it in the garbage can because we love money more? Because caring for the planet is woke? Because we're too busy? Because God will provide? Okay, bringing us down a little bit from the last topic, but sorry. So still, people ask me. Still people say, I care, but I don't know what to do. What should I do? Because, see, I wrote this book a while back, Love, Earth Now, which people mistakenly confuse me for a person with answers. Even reading that book for 5 minutes should have been a clear indication that I don't. I don't know why it's doing that. Maybe I'm getting too far away. I'm still trying to figure out how to watch local TV channels now that we don't have rabbit ears, okay? And I also wrote a lot in Love Earth Now about doing small things, and small things matter. You never know where a small thing can lead. In fact, I feature someone in the new book. Her name is Sheila Moravati. She kept noticing when she took her daughter out to eat dinner that they give kids those little crayons. I'm wondering what happened to them. What happened to those little crayons after dinner? Because all these kids come through here and they use those crayons for maybe 5-10 minutes and then they go into the trash, and that bothered her. And she's like, what can I do about that? And now she has this whole organization called Habits of Waste. But even if the small thing that we do doesn't launch an empire, I still believe that those things matter. That carrying my reusable bags and saying no to styrofoam matters. It matters to how I feel about myself. It matters to me living up to my personal ethics. Even if I were someone, say, who could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and get away with it, I wouldn't do it because that's just not who I am. And not just because I am so ill-suited for jail. I need my microfiber pillow. I need my comfort cheese. It wouldn't be good. But also, it just doesn't fit my moral code. So how can I justify burning up fossil fuels, knowing that someone in the Marshall Islands is losing their homeland in rising waters? It's that cognitive dissonance, right, for all of us. I care about those people, but I also care about being cool at my home, and our house just isn't suited for solar panels, so we burn the fossil fuels. Well, what do we do? Well, I realized I don't have those answers, but there are a lot of people who are doing a lot of really good things that have skills and tools and organizations already in place. And so that's why in this book I showcase a lot of organizations who are doing good things without me having to reinvent something when I'm just trying to schlep my bags. So if you're wondering too what's something bigger you can do, I urge you to partner with a group, be it your neighbors on your cul-de-sac, or people at church, or people at your office, or one of these organizations in the book, or many other organizations. Because here's the thing. It's time for us to do what humanity has always done in times of crisis across the eons. Our earliest relatives, the early humans, were small people. How small? Anybody know? Okay, he says 4 feet. I don't know. I know that they were smaller than us, and their predators were ginormous. The ones that lived through the era of the megafauna animals. I gotta get notes on this. They stared down woolly mammoths and 16-foot tall rhinos, 600-pound saber-toothed tigers, 2,000-pound rodents, and heck, there were armadillos the size of VW bugs. That's where they got the idea, she says. Yet somehow those early humans not only managed to survive, but they played a big part in wiping out those megafauna animals to extinction without GPS, without AK-47s. They didn't even have YouTube that takes 49 minutes to tell them how to sharpen an arrowhead when you just wanted to know how to do the one thing. Well, how did they do it? Well, here's the deal. They taught their kids from an early age. You got to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. Look, we're rooting for you. We wish you all the best, but you're on your own. And guess what? We're going to spread out the resources unequally. Some people are going to get a lot. Many of you will have, plenty. Some of you will have nothing. But that's just how it is. So everybody accepted it. That is not what happened. I don't think. I wasn't there, but I'm pretty sure that's not how they worked it. They made their game plans. They linked arms around their sacred fires. They sang their songs. They chanted their mantras. They said their prayers. They made their offerings. Maybe they scratched their action plans in the dirt. Maybe they pantomimed the task. I don't know. But if you want to know more about them, I totally recommend Yuval Harari and his book Sapiens, if you haven't read it. Then they acted as a group. Some sharpened the spear points. Some watched the kids to keep them out of the way. Some were creating the diversion, and some were stabbing with the spears, and some were good at cleaning the hides. In my mind, that's what we need right now. It's not that everyone has to do this one thing, change your light bulbs, and the world is saved. We all have our unique gifts and abilities and reasons why we're here. It's time we link arms, we sing our songs, we set our strategies, we work together, each contributing our own gifts and abilities. Because no matter what this new administration does, our work is the same. Even if they cripple the EPA, no one, as long as the First Amendment holds, no one can stop the protesters outside the refinery, or the shareholders group from demanding change, or prevent us from planting trees or restoring wetlands. This is the assignment. In that sense, nothing has changed except maybe, just maybe, our incoming president has lit a fire, no, an inferno under our asses. And to that point, I would like to introduce a few people here who are doing this work in their groups and their organizations and can give you some more ideas about what you can do. And I'm going to turn it over first to Hans Johnson from the East Area Progressive Democrat. It's the biggest Democratic club in California.
Thank you, Cheryl. But before I start, can we give it all up for an attorney, geologist, spiritual organizer, author, and proud Eagle Rocker, Cheryl Luchin? Thank you, Cheryl, for your years of bringing intertwined struggles together and your great work that I first became familiar with in Love Earth Now, and which we are here to celebrate the next installment of Cheryl's great intertwining of insights and holding up other people while she is doing that work to chronicle the struggle to protect, to be mindful of, and to protect the earth for present and future generations. Thank you, Cheryl, for all your great work and for this latest installment. I'm Hans Johnson. I'm president of the East Area Progressive Democrats, and I'm proud to be here today in the wake of an election where, as Cheryl said, all of us have a Bunsen burner lighted beneath us for local action that helps achieve earth mindfulness and justice at every dimension we can, which takes on greater meaning as we look at the next 3 months and 4 years ahead. I'm also here to say thank you to each and every one of you who took part in some of the remarkable victories here locally that give hope for exactly the mindfulness and the intertwined struggles that Cheryl writes about and continues to make manifest for all of us to engage in. Here locally in Los Angeles and in California, we achieved some really significant victories that have a lot of environmental justice dimensions to them. And I'm going to talk about one struggle that's before us right now that we can plug into even right now, right here in Northeast Los Angeles. But I also want to talk about why it matters that we gather and rekindle the strength of our fellowship and of our shared values around social and economic justice and earth mindfulness here close to home. Because for many years, while we may have built strength around the values that Cheryl champions day in and day out and chronicles in her work and in her family life, and the example that shines brightly from the corner of College View and my own sector of Eagle Rock right here, and the small library that Cheryl puts out as a beacon of hope and neighborliness, we have had those values betrayed by its representation in local elected office and even in higher elected office. And one of the reasons why the victories attained in this election are so significant is we took a step forward for environmental justice and for protecting of public schools here in our communities where those values can also flourish and have flourished. Here in this area, in these neighborhoods, was the birthplace of the fight to eradicate plastic bag waste from our ecosystem. That struggle in California was born right here in Northeast Los Angeles. And we enacted in 2014 the first statewide law in the country to stop throwaway plastic bag use. That battle first gained traction here in the Northeast. And as I like to say, it was more popular even than the Dodgers here in our East Side. But we had elected officials, unfortunately, who betrayed that value even as we fought to enact it. And here locally, we had an elected official from his time at the school board to his time on city council for 10 years, instead of translating environmental justice and respect for economic justice, respect for protecting our lives and our futures from pollution in Jose Huizar, sold out our values and our health to the highest bidder in a series of land use schemes that enriched himself and extorted those donors for his own enrichment. And I say that because we are turning the page. We are still turning the page from the mistranslation of our values, those values that we are here to champion and celebrate today, in how they get expressed and represented in local elected office. And so right now, we are taking a step forward. We have just passed, as you may know, in this year, finally 10 years after the first enactment of the first statewide ban on throwaway plastic bags in California, which our group and many of you here and many coalition allies in California helped enact in 2014, our now defeated city council member carved a loophole in that law that we are now just overcoming and closing. 2024, 10 years later, we've finally closed the loophole in the statewide the ban on throwaway plastic bags. 10 years later, we all did that because we said, hell no, to throw away plastic. That's even worse than what we first prohibited in the law in 2014. We did that. We are now going to enact in 2026, with the onset of the law, a full, comprehensive transition away from throwaway plastic to reusable bags, including some of the canvas and multi-fiber bags that many of you use and have championed, and some of you may even be involved in making and marketing. And I also just want to note, right here in Northeast Los Angeles now, we have a fight that reveals not only how far we still have to go, but how far we've come and some of the progress we've made. How many of you are aware of Hillside Elementary, right down in Lincoln Heights? How many of you are familiar with Hillside Elementary? I see a few hands. Well, Hillside Elementary, down on Pasadena Avenue in Lincoln Heights, has adjacent to it a site that is one of the most contaminated sites in all of East Side and greater Northeast Los Angeles, 3505 Pasadena. And it was the site for decades of a dry cleaning service. And many of you know that dry cleaning services, dry cleaning locations are some of the most toxic hotspots in our state and in our country. We are now fighting an effort to put a mega trucking warehouse there at this location adjacent to Hillside Elementary in that corner of Lincoln Heights. And I say this because, like so much of Los Angeles, like so much of Northeast Los Angeles, that site is a crossroads of multiple neighborhoods. It's Cypress Park, it's Montecito Heights, it's Lincoln Heights, and it's also Mount Washington. So Eagle Rockers also breathe the air churned up when there is a contaminated site that becomes the site of digging and development. And we have before us right now a chance to stop a misuse of that site for another contaminating, polluting purpose, and possibly to transition it into something that could be green space and a park. But we only will get that, yes, we will only get that if we stand up and push for it. Again, going back to what we've earned, what we've won, and why it's important. Instead of having a school board member and city council member like Jose Huizar, now in federal jail for 13 years for that long-running racketeering scheme while pretending to be a champion of the environment and of progressive values, we have a school board member in Dr. Rocio Rivas, now in Board District 2, who is leading that effort and is convening community partners to stop a mega trucking warehouse right there next to Hillside Elementary, where it depletes the lungs and the lives of students and education professionals and parents and the rest of the community. That's before us, and that's progress. So I just wanted to note, I'm going to hand around a letter that we have if you're interested in signing. It's a hands-on activity, and I want to make sure that we have handouts that people can take home and be connected with this fight. But on Tuesday afternoon, just before dusk at 4 o'clock, there's a press conference of a whole array of community partners to stop the mega trucking warehouse. We believe Eunice Hernandez in District 1 is with us. Dr. Rivas is helping to lead this fight. We have a whole series of community organizations with us. But I just want to ask you to be aware of it, and if you're so interested, to be there Tuesday afternoon. But more importantly, I just want to make sure you're aware that Cheryl is a proud member, that a few others here are proud members of East Area Progressive Democrats. What we have done together is turn the triangle around from having elected officials who tell us what they could deign to confer to the community when they so choose at their timing and at their whim, but to serve our community, to put that triangle upward from the community to elected representatives and say, this is our need. This is our priority. This is what we expect. The earth can't wait. Our environment can't be treated as expendable, and our lives and health have real value. And we set the agenda, not you. That is what we are trying to do. That is what we are making progress doing. And I want to thank all of you who in this election in, election out, month in, month out, join in doing that work to turn that triangle around and to bring integrity home here on the greater east side of Los Angeles. Thank you. I'm going to hand the letter around, and I'll hand also some information about our upcoming awards event coming up on December 7th that all of you are invited to take part in right here in Highland Park. Thanks a lot.
Perfect example of how the work doesn't end when the election is over. There's always the next thing, and they do a great job of keeping us informed. I want to turn over the microphone next to good friend Sybil Westbrook, who she is also one who walks the walk and helps Madagascar, lemurs, and school kids around the world. But Today I have asked her because I suspect a lot of you have heard about the wildlife crossing over the 101 freeway. She is a docent there. She's got all the information. It's amazing, and I want you to hear about it from her.
Hunts are both tough acts to follow, so don't expect the same level of public speaking aptitude here from me. But allow me to introduce myself real briefly. So my name is Sybil, and I've started after the death of P22, the famous puma we had in Griffith Park. I decided that I wanted to be part of the effort of building this wildlife crossing over the 101 freeway at Liberty Canyon in Agora Hills. And I'm sure while many of you are aware of that, I just want to tell you a little bit more about it and why it is so important. First of all, it is not the first wildlife crossing in the world. Wildlife crossings have been a thing for decades. Which is actually good for us because that's why we have a lot of data and a lot of research has already been done. However, our location is very special. Between the Santa Monica Mountains are what's called now an ecological island because all the species, all the flora and fauna is basically fenced in by the ocean on the one side and freeways and urbanization on the other side. So they live on an island which is not good, no matter how big that island would be. In order to keep populations genetically healthy, there needs to be movement. So we need to stitch back together the Simi Hills and the Santa Monica Mountains to encourage and increase the exchange of different species. So the crossing over the 101 freeway will do exactly that. So one thing that's very special about it is that it connects two environments that are completely separated. And they've done studies that the populations of different species are genetically different from on the north side from the ones on the south side. It is going to be the biggest wildlife crossing worldwide, and that is not because we were so ambitious that that's what we wanted to do. It's just what the science told us we had to do, because there is no way to shrink the 101 freeway, and whatever crossing built needs to go over the 10 lanes of freeway and Agora Road. So science tells us that the width has to correspond to the length, because otherwise it's too narrow and species will not use it. So that's special about it. What's most special about it, I think, it's that it is a state-of-the-art crossing, or what we call, it has fully integrated design. That means no stone was left unturned. Nothing was left to coincidence. Everything has been researched to the tiniest detail. So light pollution and sound pollution are mitigated. The ground will not be even. It will completely simulate the natural environment on either side of the crossing. So the animals approaching it will not even know that they go over a bridge or anything like that. And it will be the model for urban wildlife crossings from here on out. And it's already inspired so many other people, architects, engineers, that a lot more wildlife crossings are in the offing. So it's very hopeful. It's also a public-private collaboration, and many, many different organizations have been able to put their egos aside and work together for the benefit of all. So, and it's also the first wildlife crossing that is specifically constructed with mountain lions in mind. And now you might ask, why is that so important? Should there be anybody who doesn't think mountain lions are awesome? I think they're awesome. But if you don't, it's when something is done for a species like mountain lions, who are an umbrella or indicator species, it means that a whole lot of other species are protected as well, including us humans, because as Cheryl will probably agree, we also need to breathe oxygen. We also need clean water. We also need plants to eat, and we also need natural spaces to recreate. Once mountain lions can't make it there anymore, it won't be long till it's gone for us too. So if you're more interested in that, I'm a volunteer for the National Wildlife Federation, and pretty soon, early next year, we're going to start up tours again. You can go on their website and register for a tour. It's free. We just limit them to 10 or 15 people. That's why you have to sign up. Or you can also volunteer for the National Wildlife Federation or other organizations, and you can follow the progress at www.101wildlifecrossing.org. And you can ask me any questions you might have. Thank you very much. And it's called the most hopeful construction project in the world. So that's what we need.
Thank you. I've been on her tour. It's really fascinating. I highly encourage you to do it. It's free. How many things can you say? Okay, I've just got one more. You've been very patient. And then I promise you're going to get some dessert in the form of, well, it may or may not be funny, but comedy. One more. I'm now introducing you to Trish Burney from Northeast Trees, an organization I have been a proud board member of for 6 years now, and I'm going to let her tell you more about it, and then we're going to have our dessert.
Hello everyone, good evening. I will make this very brief because dessert is the environment's more important, but for our tummies. But also because at the end I do want to invite you to an event we're having in a couple of weeks. But as Cheryl said, I'm with Northeast Trees, and we are an environmental justice nonprofit here in Northeast LA, where our office is in Cypress Park, so very close. I don't know how many of you know where the River Center Garden is located, but we're there. What we do is we go out and we do greening projects in under-resourced neighborhoods. Our focus is El Sereno, Boyle Heights, South LA, and Watts. We go beyond just planting trees. We are a nature design build nonprofit. We're, I think, the only one in LA. We design nature design projects such as parks, and we've done several in housing projects in LA, and we've also done I think over 40 school greening projects. I think that we've been around for 35 years, and I think that we haven't done a great job of tooting our own horn, but hopefully you guys can help us. We're a small but mighty team. And I think we first started out back about 35 years ago in the late 80s, and it was our, is it Scott? Scott Wilson, who was going out and guerrilla planting trees in the LA River. So we're continuing that spirit and fighting environmental justice in under-resourced neighborhoods here in LA. One thing, just to kind of wrap this up very quickly, I want to invite you all to a holiday brunch we're having. It's free. There will be food, there will be mimosas, and Chloe, one of our board members, is here. It will be at her gorgeous home in Eagle Rock. She has one of the largest plant, how would you describe it, Chloe?
I would say that the people who lived there before started with drought-tolerant plants with succulents, and have been transforming it little by little into California native.
Yes, it's gorgeous. It's a little wonderland. She's got paths. It's on the side of the hill. It's gorgeous. Come take a look at that. Come and learn more about Northeast Trees, what we're doing out in the community. And if you are feeling daunted by what is going on with the climate and with our new administration, we could really use your help. We have a nursery, a plant nursery training grounds. It's 92 acres, and we're turning it from gray, actually brown, just dead grass to trees, native trees. So the trees that are there, we're collecting seeds. We do this every Sunday, and we're in the process. Planting season is just starting. So if anyone's interested, if you're looking to volunteer, the first Saturday of every month.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention? Please. Ladies and gentlemen, hello. Please, may I have your attention? I want to welcome you all tonight to the Crack Up Club. This is where you are, believe it or not. You are at the Crack Up Club. We are about to welcome our best comedian that is here tonight. She is the woman who has made eco-fanaticism an art form. And we all know her as the amazingly brilliant, funny, wonderful, kind Cheryl Lucien.
Hello. My name is Cheryl. My pronouns are she, her, and goddess. And they told me that this is a safe space, right? I hope so. Because I have to tell you, I'm here to say I am a wokeaholic. Yeah, yes, that's a wokeaholic. Yeah, it's been 17 minutes since I did anything woke. Black Lives Matter. I mean, zero minutes. I admit that I am powerless over the woke. You see, I'm an actual tree hugger, literally hugging trees. I have been known to give water to people standing in line to vote. I have taken my children to drag queen shows. And my ideal dinner companions would be Kamala Harris, Dr. Fauci, RuPaul, and Ron DeSantis. Why Ron, did you say? Oh, we need Ron to tell us if we're being woke enough. If Ron's not on fire, we have to try harder. See, Ron's the only reason I know what I am, because when he started talking about the woke, I'm like, oh, that's me. And when he said Florida is where woke goes to die, I'm like, okay, can never go back to Florida.